Hey, welcome to the Crippled Handyman. Thanks for joining me and help me reach 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate it. Hit that like button and pound that subscribe button. It'll help me reach my goal. All right. This is episode 3 and why to get into the HVAC industry. That's heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. What I'm going to talk about on this episode, I'm going to talk about what tools are you going to have to buy before you even step foot, to a company. They do require hand tools, and I have a list I put together, and I got some costs, and these costs are from it's from Home Depot, and you might be able to get better pricing from the actual the supplier where they sell actual ductwork and furnaces. They sell all the necessary tools unless they have, unless Home Depot has sales and you can find it cheaper. So let's go through the list, and it's not in order, but it's kind of just to write down. I will list off the tool that you need, and I'm going to list off the price afterwards of what I found at the local Home Depot here in Colorado. Maybe your Home Depot or Lowe's, it's cheaper. So these prices are, within the price point of what it would cost. And I added a couple extra things. You may not need them right away, but just in case you did. And so this is what you will need as a HVAC worker, sheet metal worker. And this is for residential. This is not doing commercial work. There's a bunch of other tools that you will need if you got into the commercial industry. If you're working union, working the big jobs, the type of duct, there's ductwork that's put together with nuts and bolts. That requires different types of socket wrenches. We use a speed wrench. Alignment tools. So we're not going to get into that. This is strictly for residential. I will get into the commercial side on another episode. So the first thing you're going to need a tool belt. Definitely a tool belt. I price that out at $100, and that's like an in-between. Obviously, with the weight of tools that you will be carrying when you're roughing in a house or wherever you're working, you're up and down a ladder, you want all the tools that you are required to use throughout all your practices of that daily task. So that's item 1. Next one, you're going to need a tinner's hammer. And that's like $30. They're just made different. They're square heads, and then the other end is like a point. That's for like if you're putting like Pittsburgh ends together. That is probably more for commercial. You could use it in residential. It doesn't matter. Like I said, that's $30. Then you're going to need a claw hammer. Not a claw hammer where it's got the claw and the hammerhead are straight together, just a 20 ounce. And we got that at $20. Next one, it would be next tool, you're going to need a flat pry bar, which would be at $17. You're going to need bull snips. That's like if you're cutting S-cleat on the job, you want to use bull snips. It's a lot easier on your, your hands, your wrists, and so forth. It's got a lot more power. And these tools are about 9.25 inches long. And bull snips are, like I said, $23. And then they call them aviation snips. And the left cut, you'll see, I believe those are the red handled, and the right cut are the green handled. I was in this for a long time. Hope I'm not saying that backwards. But the kind of aviations you want the compound action effect. It's got, you could cut a straight, you could cut holes in ductwork so much easier because like the way the jaws are offset, they will make the cuts way easier. And these are $20 each. So $20 for the left cut and $20 for the right cut. So basically your reds and greens. Then you're going to need a large pair of straight snips. If you're cutting like round pipe, even the duct work, you get a nice cleaner cut, less chances of having, they call them meat hooks. You want to avoid that. That's how you get cut very easily. Those are at $18. And then there's another device called duct hangers. I described them in another video. They will clamp onto the wood joists, and they got a chain on them. I don't believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was told that OSHA doesn't approve that. Well, sorry, you guys aren't out there doing the job by yourself, if you are by yourself. So get yourself a pair of duct hangers. I didn't find them at Home Depot. See if the supply house does sell them, and I was guessing like $30 on those pipe crimpers. Those are pretty expensive, $40. That's when you put one round pipe into another round pipe. You crimp the one end and you push it all the way together. You try to get an inch and a half push through. That's how far you want the pipe. Hopefully, the push into the other pipe is an inch and a half. A snap lock punch. We call them like a button punch. Those are like $42. You need a scratch awl. Those are like $8. You can find them a little more money than that, but $8, I think, for the kind that you could buy is reasonable. Duct stretchers. You'll definitely need these. Sometimes when you're putting up duct and it's a snap lock type connection, when you're pounding it just together, a snap lock just goes into the other groove, and you end up. Sometimes you just need that to get the drive cleat to start. You just have to get those duct stretchers on there and just squeeze that duct together to get the two drive cleat edges tighter, so you get the cleat on. That's $26. And then chances are you may be with a company, they're going to do replacement jobs. So you're going to need pliers, channel locks, needle nose pliers, wire cutters, say a crescent wrench. Hopefully you don't need pipe wrenches or anything like that. Hopefully the company will provide those. And if they don't, shame on them. They should provide all that stuff. I know we did. We provided a lot of stuff. We provided drills to the guys. But I'm just putting a simple base list of what you're going to need to start and the cost. And getting all those, should be able to find all that for about $100. Maybe not. Maybe in the beginning of your, if you're starting in the industry, you don't need the most expensive pliers, the most expensive channel locks, just to get by. So that's that. It's recommended to get a cat's paw. Sometimes there's nails in the way and you got to pull a nail out if you're cutting holes, like cutting up a house or roughing a house in. If you're doing new construction, it's recommended to get a cat's paw to cut out, pull that nail out. Those are like $14. Then you're going to need markers and pencils, and that could be another $5. Of course, a tape measure, and I recommend having two because they break. Things happen. It's nothing worse. You're on the job and you don't have an extra tape, and say there's two of you, and now you're just using your partner's tape measure to do the whole job. So those are $20 a piece. I like using the Stanleys. They're simple. I don't get into the Mad Max and all those. The Stanley, I have a 30-footer. Love it. That'd be a perfect tape measure for the residential. And then, say you had to purchase your own drill gun. You're going to be dumping money anywhere from $150 to $200. $150 to $200. And that gets pricey, especially if you need a job. And maybe the company will lend you a drill. Like I said, we provided drills for the guys. The big company I was at, they provided all the power tools. It's just hand tools that we had to provide only. So you may not have to even worry about that expenditure. Drill bits and bit set, even that, sometimes the companies will provide all that for you guys, gals. And I put down like $60. bar folder. You're going to need get an 18-inch bar folder, and those are like $26. So the drill bits and the bit set, I think I'm going to back up to that. Did I say the price? $60 for both. I think I did. A tester. You're going to need a tester for electric if you're doing furnace replacements, air conditioning. You're going to need a voltmeter, a volt tester, and you can spend $100 on one of those. And that's getting an average decent one. You don't have to get the most expensive one. And then over the future, maybe getting a step bit. It'll start drilling holes from a smaller size, and it'll keep going bigger and bigger. And those are good for certain circumstances as well. That may not even be necessary on this list. And those could range $60 to $100. A tester is, like I said, like $100. Then the final thing, where are you going to put all this stuff? I've seen guys just get a bucket, a $2 bucket from Home Depot, Lowe's, and just throw all their tools in a bucket with a handle, and that's that. I've seen several men, even in the commercial end, in the big world, just carrying the tools in a bucket. They got like it's like an insert, and you can put all your tools. Electricians use them; they love those. But they got the bags. There's so many types of tools, tool pouches, and toolboxes. But you're going to need a toolbox to put all of these tools in, protected from the weather. And I know when I was up in Alaska, the owner, I had him buy all the tools that I needed to do whatever odds and ends I had to do when I was out there finishing up the restaurant. And the toolbox was like $140. It was a Milwaukee, and Milwaukee has come a long ways. They definitely took over the entire market for literally tool pouches, toolboxes, all the sets you could put on to each other and together. It's pretty cool. But the tally of everything I just mentioned comes down to $1,153 plus tax, depending on where you're at. What you might be able to get away with not having to buy, like I said, the drill gun. So that'll knock, say, it down to $1,000. Maybe all the drill bits in that. Now you're down to $950. Like I said, I calculated $150 on the toolbox. Maybe just get a simple handheld toolbox for now for $35. So now we're down to $850. Maybe you don't need a tester. That's $750. And then maybe you don't need the step bits. Now you're down to $650. So you could get away with what I know you would need. You can use yeah. So I think what I say, $650. You could get away with everything what you need to start for about $650. Sometimes new companies will like I said, instead of getting the toolbox, get a bucket. But maybe you have a friend, maybe you have an uncle, your father, maybe someone has some tools that you could borrow for now until you start making some paychecks. But these are the basic tools that you will need as a HVAC guy, if you're doing new residential houses and even some replacement work. These are the tools that you will need. I did forget one. They call them seamers. I forgot about the seamers. You will need seamers. I think they're about $30-$40. Sheet metal tools never been cheap, even in my time when I started. And I remember back in the day, Craftsman had a deal where if the jaw broke, I broke many jaws over the years, cutting the jaw just breaks, and they will replace that tool, no receipt, for free. It was 100% guaranteed. 100% guaranteed. I don't think that offer exists anymore, not even Swiss. Swiss is a good brand. Craftsman is a good brand. Those would be the only two brands I would buy in my snips. But other than that, I wouldn't buy any other brand. Those brands are the best. Craftsman has come a long ways. That is like the Sears, and they might guarantee those if they break. You'll have to ask when you buy them. Like I said, I remember it went away. That's all I remember. It went away, and it was a bummer for us guys. When you break a pair of snips, it's like, oh shit, that's another $20. And then, or someone uses your snips to cut tie wire or something like that, and it's like, dude, you just screwed up the cut, the jaw. Now I got a nick in it. So every time you cut your steel, you make a little imperfection when you're cutting steel, and you don't want that if you're cutting copper, stuff like that. You want a perfect snip blade. That's why you get the wire cutters. That's why I had that on the list with pliers, channel locks, all that, etc. Side cutters. So yeah, you could get away with what you need to start in the sheet metal industry. I'm just going to call it that, even though it's HVAC. You could get away with about $650. And a lot of these tools you could probably find already laying around the house. You may already have half of them, say. And put it this way. What does a college course cost? How much does it cost to take one course, two courses in college? And now you got that debt hanging over you if you took out a loan. And this way here, you have your tools for your trade. And as time goes on, you start making money, And like I said, when you're young, hopefully you're still living at home, even if you're older, and you're living with a couple buddies or whatever. I've worked with so many different men in so many different vast or scenarios that they were coming from, and but tools, that's your money maker. But that's the list that we need to start in the industry. And yeah, and that's it with that. So I'll take it from there, and hope you got some information about this. If you would want to get into this industry on HVAC, it doesn't matter if if you want to be a carpenter, if you want to be an electrician, if you want to be a plumber, they all have their special tools that you're going to have. Like a lot of times the bigger, plumbing companies, they do provide the more expensive tools. Say if they do ProPress, the tools for ProPress, you could spend $3,000-$4,000 just on that tool, that battery operated tool. Milwaukee has it. They got a very nice ProPress tool, but you may not have to buy that. The owner of the company would provide that, and then you're using that. You may need like tubing cutters, tape measure, a folding rule. I know old timers. What I didn't put in this list is a folding rule. That's where the ruler is. It's a wood ruler and it folds out. It's like an accordion and it folds back in. That's very popular, especially amongst mason contractors. Masons, they love that thing. They use that all the time. It's a common tool in masonry. But that's the list. I can't think of anything else. I might be, if I'm missing something, if you're in sheet metal and you're an HVAC guy, hey, let me know. Let's talk. We could talk about our stories and the kind of jobs that we got to build. Yeah. So other than that, thanks for watching. And again, hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers. And I will see you on the next one. Have a great day.